the button here. All right. Let me know if you see it now. I have to refresh it.
It's a meeting is now streaming live on Facebook, is what it says up here on the side. I don't know if that
Yeah.
means anything.
It and
It
for
said
some
meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
oh now we're live. See it pops up.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Let me make sure we're okay. We're on here. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to our weekly Tuesday talks. I am Carmen, and we have my coworker Shannon that's joining us today. Shannon, want to introduce yourself?
I am Shannon Emmerich. I am communications coordinator here at NAMI, and I'm excited to join Tuesday Talks today. And we're really grateful that Jackie said yes when we asked. So this is going to be fun.
Definitely. So I want to introduce everyone to Jackie. Jackie Adams, the owner of one of the top fashionable boutiques. I remember when you first opened your boutique a long time ago. So Jackie Adams is joining us. She's our fabulous host guest that will be kicking off our Tuesday talk today. So we're going to have some important topics to discuss. But Jackie, tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are and a little bit of your background.
Okay. Well, I am Jackie Adams, the proud owner of Melodrama Boutique, and we just celebrated 18 years of business right in the heart of Third Ward of Houston, Texas. So we are excited and proud about that. And I have a background in retail as well as my degree is in physics. So I am a graduate from Grambling State University and got a degree in physics. I've worked in my degree field in oil and gas, did some work with MD Anderson. But I've always had a love for fashion. So I always kept a part-time job in retail when I graduated from college. And I simply asked my boss for really just to see if they had any need for me in management. And she immediately that day handed me the key, like, here, you can have the store. It was really funny. I was working with Bath and Body Works, and I was the number one salesperson. And so, yes, when I said that to her, she immediately put me in the management program, and that kind of spearheaded me into a life of retail management for the limited company, and worked for Rampage and worked at Foley's, which is now Macy's, and different things of that nature. So I did a lot of corporate retail before, interestingly, walking into a small Texas-based store in Memorial City Mall, and ended up working for that company and worked my way up the ladder to becoming one of the buyers. So I will tell people, and I tell this to people all the time, to pursue what it is that you have a love for. I know I studied fashion in high school and I didn't get my degree in it in college, but it was always something that I enjoyed and loved, and I ended up doing really great with it now. And I tell people a lot of times people are focused on money-driven type goals, and I always tell people to focus on things that you're passionate and things that make you happy, because the money will come. Because sometimes you can make a lot of money doing something that you don't love and not passionate about it, but you still feel like you're missing something, and then you still feel hungry for something. I am satisfied, still ambitious, but I am satisfied in that hunger space of doing my dream, doing something I love, and being able to also be an asset and a face in the community, which is something my tagline for my business is Melodrama, where fashion meets community. And I do believe in giving back, and my first company being All Women of Power, and being able to work with models and encourage models to take on what they're wanting to do, but also think about the things as far as getting a degree or a trade in something. And so that's kind of where this whole thing with me and the community with my first business and what I do now is being able to empower and encourage women to follow their path, follow their hearts, and live the life in your best life, being in that best space for yourself. So that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, so let's talk about the location, because I know you're known now in that location. You've been there since your store opened. Tell us some of the activities that you get the community involved, because you have some major events sometimes where the whole community kind of supports you. And then we'll talk a little bit as far as just when the pandemic hit, how you made that transition to continue your business.
Yeah, so one thing about my store location is since it's in the heart of Third Ward, I am in what you call a regentrification area of Houston. And so I am a destination boutique, meaning that people are coming to me specifically to shop. The area still is growing as far as other commercial businesses to be able to support walking, shopping, and eating and restaurants and stuff like that that have slowly been opening up in the area. So what happens with that is I had to do a lot of community outreach to different churches and nonprofits and organizations and get involved with them saying, hey, I have a boutique over here. How can you utilize my services, from with their women's organizations to different things where I come in and offer free fashion shows or speak to their young girls and different things like that, or to their women's ministry in exchange for promoting my business. So I did a lot of different things like that in the community and networking with organizations like that. And then I started hosting things inside of my boutique that I would also be able to give 10% or a certain percentage of the sales back to that nonprofit as well. So they would be sharing my business to their database and to their clients and donors and stuff, as well as me with my clients, and just kind of creating that networking environment inside of the store as well. So that's one of the ways that I really kind of tied into the community with Houston with my business.
Right. So it's good that you mentioned earlier, because I did get a couple of questions that our viewers sent beforehand. And one of them is really, what is the best advice for a female founder starting her business? And I know you talked about it's a slow progress for you to really kind of sustain that longevity of how long you've been there, but it hasn't been an easy journey with just kind of, coming up with ideas and being creative. So can you share some of that advice, and just outside of just reaching out, what were some of your best practices as you were beginning for a new beginner that's starting her business?
Yeah, so one of my things that I did was I got really involved with different, like I said, organizations, but I became a chamber member, the Greater Houston Women Chamber. I became a member there. The Black, they changed the name, Houston Black Chamber of Commerce. I became a member there. I'm also a Pinnacle Award winner with the chamber as well. So with that, it allowed me to network and meet different people and build a name for yourself in the community. I was trying to find professional women who had disposable income to come and shop me. So I was trying to make sure that I was getting in front of the right audience as well in that space. So I would just say, definitely look at what chambers you can become a member of. It's very important to starting a new business in whatever area you're planning on opening up. So then that way with them, you can get access to their database as far as clients and sending out emails, and if they're promoting new businesses and stuff like that. So that's kind of like a really great way. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a small fee to be a part of these organizations and associations, but it does pay off.
So you were always very good at being just being very vocal in front of interviews and sharing your ideas and sharing your style. For those of you joining us, we're talking to Jackie Adams. She is the owner of Melodrama Fashion Boutique in Third Ward, and that store has been there for 18 years now. So Jackie, tell us about the fashion itself, because your boutique is very tailored to a very fun and unique fashionable style. So tell us how that concept came about, because I when you first opened, and I've been friends with Jackie for a while, I was there almost every week because it was very different, but it was pieces that can be long-term and can be used in your closet. So talk a little bit about the inspiration behind the fashion, and now with the pandemic hit, how that fashion transition changed.
Well, I consider Melodrama a lifestyle boutique. And with that is I kind of go on a journey of what my clients are doing. So a lot of my clients that I was attracting due to my location were a lot of professional women, entrepreneurs, realtors, doctors, because I'm really close in between a medical center downtown, oil and gas. I was getting so many different women who traveled, very involved with their churches in philanthropy as well, and going to luncheons and fundraisers. So based on what my clients was doing, is I created my inventory in the store to fit that lifestyle. So we have a great resort and going on vacation wear, as well as, great items for a first lady or a professional lady who is wanting to still have fun with her look, but she has to have a certain amount of demure and responsibility because she's leading women as well. So, but she still can have fun and she can still have her personality be shown in her looks. And then I have a very sexy, savvy customer that's going out and hanging out on the weekends. And just like my other client who has one look, when she goes on vacation, guess what? She can let her hair down. So she loves to get some of those other items that she wouldn't traditionally wear here in Houston. But when she go on vacation, hey, it's fun. She can have fun. So I am more that lifestyle with my clients, and I allow them to be able to be who they are and then give them new ideas. I'm a stylist by trade. So a lot of times women don't know what, where, how, and when to wear a look. So one thing about my client they enjoy as well is I help them with that item and that look. And if I don't have it in my store, then I simply just suggest other places where they can find it, whether it's at a store or online. Even just finishing up with the right shoe. So I may not have all the shoes, but I can tell them whether you need to wear nude shoe, open toe, booty, or whatever, and give them great suggestions in the space. So when they get home, they like, oh, okay, I have one of those. Perfect. And it completes the look for them so that they continue to want to come back and shop me based on, I give them just great information for an overall look.
So let's talk about the beginning of the pandemic and how that affected you. And then we had the social unrest with the Black Lives Matter and,
Yes.
supporting small Black-owned businesses. So talk to me a little bit about when the pandemic hit. How did you make the transition to continue to just stay afloat with your business at that time?
Yeah, now that's very interesting. That was a very interesting pivot for me, which was my website. When it happened, it was really interesting right there around rodeo. And I just remember getting this young lady locally to do these custom cowboy hats and stuff. And I just did this really big event with the Links Women's Chapter Organization for the Houston chapter. So we had just did a fundraiser and we were getting ready for that. And boom, the city shut down. And I was like, what? What do you mean no rodeo? And I still remember, I said, oh my God, these people are gonna run and return these clothes. And then all of a sudden they shut the city down. I was like, well, wait a minute. So with all that being said, I had to get home like everybody else and figure it out. And I didn't have a e-commerce website. I've always sort of been online, but nothing was really selling. It was kind of like an information thing and leading you to my social media. So I had to take a moment and sit back and looked at hiring a web designer and then created her to be also the social media manager, whom I'm still working with today to create that website. And create that interaction online, which has been amazing for business because people can go to Melodrama Boutique online and shop and they have a great experience, and you can do in-store pickup as well as we had to create due to the pandemic curbside pickup as well for people who didn't want to come in the store, as well as people can book a one-on-one appointment with me any day and they can, shop with me as well that way. So it's a safe environment. So just having to be creative to make everybody feel safe inside of the store, as well as getting signage up that says wear a mask, and even having disposable mask available in the store for shoppers that sometimes come in and they don't have a mask. And then you have people out there sometimes who just don't want to wear a mask. And you have to simply say, well, here, you got to wear a mask. Here's your mask, just to make it comfortable for everybody else in the store. I get your personal, and you may not feel like it's your right to be able to say, I don't want to do that, but it's just a health provision and just giving that as an option when people shop in the store. So the pivot was the website, and we've kind of been consistently now doing more ads and stuff on social media and still staying engaged with our clients and just kind of navigating around. And people are now getting their vaccinations, and also just using our platform to inform people about the information about doing vaccinations and having that healthy conversation when people are coming in the store, because initially a lot of people were very like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I love to see a lot of people kind of turned around from that and saying, oh, I've gotten my vaccination, or I'm doing my vaccination and stuff like that, based on now getting more correct information. I think immediately at first was a lot of wrong information out there. And then with the Black Lives Matter movement, it's been amazing to see that I'm already in a community in an area, like I say, regentrification, but it's definitely a 80% Black community. And just knowing that clients from all over the city has made it a point to make sure that they're coming into my boutique and my business and patronizing me, as well as online. supporting and patronizing me. So it's been great. I mean, it's been a blessing. It definitely was a scary point there because, you know, being shut down for 90 days allowed me a time to have to really look at what worked for my business from the inside out. And then even scaling down, I even changed my business hours to what was my most prominent days that I was making money anyhow. So I realized all those extra days of work, I didn't even need those hours. And now my clients really love it because they are condensed to those hours, but they love the fact that my availability, and then at the same time that they have access to my merchandise online.
I was going to ask, do you think after we get through, God willing, one day we will get through this, do you think once we do, are you going to keep the online portion?
Yes, I definitely am going to keep the online business. I mean, it's like two stores. It's like having a whole other business because you have to really manage the customer service and make sure that the inventory is getting out on time, and the emails with people not getting their packages, and sometimes with this freeze and different weather, if it's a fire or a storm somewhere else, people packages takes longer to get to them, and telling them to be patient, it's coming and stuff like that. So that's been sort of a process as well with that business. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't kind of want to do an online store, because I knew how much back end it took versus inside the store. People can come in, try it on, get the whole experience. It fits, it works. Okay, I know what I'm doing, I'm gone. Then when it's online, a lot of women, and I love you guys to death, are not honest about their sizes. So thankful sometimes to social media, sometimes I go in, I'm like, she said a medium. And I'll just sometimes, and they'll be like, thank you, Jackie, for sending me that large. And I'm like, yeah, because I know my merchandise. And sometimes I'm like, the last time I saw her, I'm like, let me go take a look. And I'll just go in and send them the size that I know is going to fit. At the end of the day, that's what the client wants, right? So you have to be willing sometimes to, you know, make sure you're making product knowledge. You know, some things run small in the boutique versus, I know you may normally buy a medium when you're regularly shopping, but at Melodrama, you may need to get that large.
So I know during the shutdown and just supporting Black-owned businesses was on a rise, and a lot of people really created their own businesses, whatever that was. What would you say would be the best way right now to still continue supporting a female-owned business or just Black-owned business? What would you tell the customers and viewers to just kind of continue that support?
I mean, we're right now, even as far as with restaurants, I mean, there's a link and there's different resources where you can look up if you're looking to be conscious about shopping and supporting a Black-owned business. We're available, whether it's via social media or different groups that we're a part of on Facebook and on Instagram. And that way you can always kind of look and sort of see, or again, getting in contact with the Black Chamber and looking at the list of businesses that are on there. And then that way, at least you know too, with looking at places like that, I always say a reputable business that you know you feel like that business is established, is in the community, you know that they are what they're doing, and you can kind of look at their bio too when they're registered with different chambers as well, and knowing that your dollar and what you're investing or sort of donating towards as well.
So how did you manage your mental health in this stressful year? Because it's literally been a year now since everything was shut down. And for those of you guys that don't know, Jackie and I, we were connected through my best friend that had passed away to suicide. And she did a honorary event, you know, at her store back when she had passed away. And she's always been a very good advocate and supporter when it comes to mental health and really speaking about it. So talk to us a little bit about how you've just been managing, and if you want to share some of your struggles and give some motivation to some people that are still struggling and holding on to their business.
Oh, definitely. Well, for me, I got back in therapy back in April. So I always tell people I believe in therapy. I talk about therapy, and I am happy that I attend St. John's is one of my churches, as well as the Shrine of the Black Madonna. But when I was at St. John, Pastor Juanita Rasmus talked very openly about mental health and dealing with mental health. And one day, just listening to her sermon one Sunday is when I really started on my journey of realizing, okay, you may need to talk to somebody. And feeling okay, not feeling like, oh, well, that mean I'm crazy, you know, just meaning I just need to talk to some things to get into a better place so I can make some better decisions and feel better at the end of the day. So I love to see that there are other women using their platform too to talk about mental health. And so for myself, I immediately went back into therapy and immediately started doing some things that made me feel good. As far as I started working out and walking 3 to 4 miles a day. I even looked at some things on what I want to do in my life, and I wanted to do real estate school. So once I got things situated, because that was the first thing my therapist said, is there you go, adding something to the list instead of working with where you are. So of course, after about a couple of months is when I started my journey into real estate, because that was something else that I had a passion for and wanted to do. And I'm always referring people. And my realtor friends was like, Jackie, why don't you just go to real estate school? You know, if you even just got your license, I will have to pay your referral fee. You're just sending me clients.
Exactly.
And it was like, just, you can make money off referrals. And I was like, So anyway, I never had the time. So during this pandemic, I was like, I got time to do real estate school. What else? So that way I wasn't just sitting at home and moaning and complaining about what wasn't working for me and what I couldn't do, but trying to maximize on the potential of what I can do and what was available to me. And so that's what I pretty much did, was exercise, therapy, and real estate school.
That's amazing. I think every journey, when people think of, you know, self-care, mental health, and just mental wellness in general, everybody's journey is going to be different. I have a friend that was struggling also, and she's like, oh, I'm calling my therapist right now. She can see me today. and that's good, because some people really kind of shy away, but I'm glad that you brought it up as a point of just really talking to someone and being just conversational. Because a lot of people always think, you know, if I go to a therapist, that means something is wrong. And it's really not wrong. It's really just, I mean, Shannon, we talked about this before, as far as just the positive attributes of just having someone to lean to, because you might not even have anyone, and a therapist might be the only person that you can be very open and free to discuss whatever you're struggling with.
I totally agree. And I agree also. I mean, I just think of it as it's a resource. It's a tool. It's not, I mean, obviously I am anti-stigma on this front, but you know, I think so often, or people, the other side of it, I think, is even people who embrace the notion of therapy think, oh, I have to be really, really in the dark to need to go to someone. And that's just not true either. I mean, there's so much, you can go when things are really good, and just, but it's that constant learning and evolving about yourself. I mean, like with what you're doing, first of all, I love that you were in tune enough with yourself to know, yep, I think I'm going to go. Yeah, it's time. I know I personally am like, yep, it's time for a tune-up. Let's make an appointment. You know, and there's no shame in that. And also just, I love how your own journey has then evolved, and, oh yeah, now you're going to real estate school, you know, I mean, you know, but you were able to see a way kind of to make that happen in a healthy way. It wasn't taking too much on, you know, and part of that came out of being in therapy. So I always am an advocate for just, you know, it's there for, I mean, and of course it is not there for everybody. And I don't want to make it sound, I mean, there are many people who do not have access, but if you do, it is absolutely something. It's another tool in your mental health toolbox for sure.
And I lost my mom almost 3 years ago, which was one of the initial things that I was going to therapy for. And you know how, you know, with anything, you feel better, you fall out. It's like, oh, okay, I'm good. And then I fall
now.
over again. It's like, oh, wait a minute. You know, looking for the phone, like, hello. You know, so.
Oh, totally. It's a process. I mean, that's the thing, is it's not a finite process, in the same way that neither is grief. I mean, grief comes in waves, and but mental health, I mean, that's part of being alive, you know, and it's a good, that's what makes us human, I think. So
yes.
Anyway,
so I'm going to agree with you, Shannon.
How do you think the community can get involved? Because as far as just speaking on, deciding on, okay, maybe I need to go talk to someone, or just encouraging them to either seek help, or just kind of that self-care, mental health realm. As a community, what do you think we should do, especially, in the neighborhood that you're at right now, to become more aware on just that conversation, on just talking to someone?
I think, first of all, people being honest and talking about it, the transparency about it. I think a lot of times people have been in therapy, have done therapy, and don't share about it, kind of shy away from mentioning it. I love the fact that even for myself, I have lots of women who have shared with me, whether they were bipolar, especially after I did the tribute to Latrice. I was amazed how many women came and said, oh, I'm bipolar and I take my medication. Oh my God, it took me a while to get on it and get everything situated and having that conversation with me. And I was like, oh, really? It was like, yeah. So it really gave them an opportunity to feel and open, like, and whatever, if you need me to talk to someone, Jackie, I would love to. And I was like, oh, okay. So I think just the idea of sharing and doing the tribute to Latrice was one way for me to see that it is a group of women of color, lots of women of color who have sought mental health. And they'll say it's been in my family. I have another girlfriend who told me about her mom who was schizophrenia and dealing with different things like that. And I was like, really? You think, oh, this doesn't happen in my neighborhood or my community? And it's just when people start talking about it, it's like some people just walk around undiagnosed with different mental health issues, which of course, that's a high attribution to what's going on with homelessness. That a lot of those people are dealing with mental health, and which sometimes ends drugs and different things of that nature, just trying to create a coping mechanism. And again, not having or access to resources during that time to really kind of bring in the balance. And I think it happened to lots of people. So, I just think as long as we're creating like platforms like this, where we're having a conversation and we're talking about it, whether, it's with myself as a business owner, or different people in ministries, different people who are doctors, lawyers, and saying, yes, I too have a therapist. I mean, it's sort of like one of my ideas with this whole ideas was sort of like they did the Me Too thing, sort of, it's like, I have therapy, I have a therapist, I have a therapist. And people seeing the face of people who are in therapy being regular people like themselves, or their neighbor, their friend, their cousin, and taking the mask off of it being something that's ugly and hitting, and not wanting, that's not it's a beautiful thing to get to the next space that's going to help you create and be a better person, or help you get out of a space, so I think this is one of the first steps. I think many steps is creating that platform of an open conversation.
So with that said, I know that your clothing, and I think, and if you haven't been to Melodrama Boutique, you should stop by here and check out. Jackie just brings the clothes to light, in the sense of and I think that's your styling background, because there's things that you put together that you might be like, I don't know if I want to try that, but it's just, your knowledge of just fashion. But it really empowers women. And that's one thing that I would see in your boutique, that the moment people would just, their body types, and you would, recommend certain types of styles, they would come to life and really empower them. So talk a little bit about that sisterhood when it comes to the connection with not only yourself, but the fashion within the boutique, and how that just embraces women's just a positive mindset.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so that's, I think one of the things that I do talk about, as far as even in my mission statement with my business, is the sisterhood and the opportunity. Because like you said, I am a stylist in my background. And I just think when people come into my store, they always say it's warm, it's inviting, it feels so chill. And so that relaxation, and I talk about retail therapy being real, because when people get in the dressing room, they get to talking. So a lot of clients, whether it be divorce, new relationships, getting married, going on a fun trip. So they're always kind of sharing and talking about these things. And then they invite you, well, come to my birthday party, come to my dinner. And so then I end up meeting, and I have a circle of women and friends who I have first engagement was inside of Melodrama, and they started inviting me to their different things. And now we have a relationship and a sisterhood outside of the store. that is healthy. And if they need me to come speak somewhere, they need me to show up and or they need you to also sometime buy a table for a luncheon, or I need you to purchase a ticket and support me in this, and I'm going to support you in this. So it becomes that engagement where it's a mutual respect for each other's business, as far as how can we support you and what can I do for you. I started doing happy hours in my business a couple of years ago based on I needed a way to get more people in my business. And I asked people I knew who knew a lot of people, would you host a happy hour at my business? And it turned off. We did it for about almost 10 years that I was hosting happy hours on Friday inside of Melodrama. And it was hosted by a different person every Friday for like 3 months, which was a great opportunity for us to cross promote with our businesses and different things like that. And it started off with just a couple of friends and people I knew, and then it grew to a lot of people all over Houston started calling me, asking, can I host a happy hour? I want to host a happy hour, which was great because again, my audience was growing in that way as well. So
I remember those. I remember those happy hours. Yeah, because when you started, we would just go because like, oh, we got to go support Jackie. It would be just like the same group, and then it literally over time it just grew and grew. That it's like, oh wow, like that was something. That was an event you created. A community event that brought everyone together. And I think that's really kind of, you're an expert at that because you kind of just try things and I've seen it and they start slow and then they just kind of grow. They just kind of boom and everything. So I think that's, I think the consistency, talking to, if you give advice to small owners or small business owners, to just keep at it and just continue to not give up.
Mm-hmm. And be innovative with the idea, because even with the pandemic, I created something called the Mellow Hour. Since I couldn't do a happy hour, I did Mellow Hour, which was live on Facebook and Instagram. And again, I was hosting with a different person. And I even had a good girlfriend of mine, Tara Stadium, on there. And we were talking about dating and mental health, sort of dealing with the online dating idea of and how to do it and how to do it safely, sort of deal, and just creating another conversation. I know a lot of people were looking at it like, oh, and you have to talk about me being single and all of these different things. So she's my online dating coach, and sharing with people. It's like, you got a dating coach? If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. I need the 100%. I need to know exactly what this thing is, but having that as an option to do the right way to navigate you through it safely, So
I think also I will say, Carmen has known Jackie a long time. This is my first time to get to meet you, and true pleasure, mainly because you clearly have a gift at putting people at ease and making them feel welcome, which obviously I think that's also what Carmen must be resonating with. It clearly comes through in all your various areas of work. So you're going to be a great realtor, by the way. But,
okay, thank you.
But that I know for me, like, I think it's underestimated the power that can happen, or the changes that can come about when we create places where people feel like they belong. And I know that sense of belonging is something that is really important to us at NAMI, and helping people feel like they are part of the community. And that is clearly a strength of yours in all these different ways.
Thank you.
And comes through. And it's also clear that, very rarely is there a mission behind a store. And, you did this for love of fashion, but you did this for other reasons too. The human component is so important. And I think that too comes out when people start sharing with you about their mental health journeys. I mean, they feel it's a safe space. They feel they're with someone, and it's incredible what happens when we can share stories. And you help provide platforms for that. So I think that's marvelous.
Thank you.
So looking back now, Jackie, what, if you can, we had this question that came on my own personal Instagram when they knew that you were hosting. It said, can you ask her what has been her biggest reward being a female Black-owned business now going into almost 20 years?
My biggest reward, I think one of them, the one thing about it is the repeat and return of customers. That's kind of like where I really feel like that's why I've been in business as long as I have, is because I do have a loyal and a consistent customer that comes back. Even I always tell a story that I was 30 when I opened Melodrama, and now I am 48. And so I've seen a lot of my clients get married, have kids, and even when they get married and move off, soon something special in their life happens, They always tell me, my husband said the first thing, go to Melodrama, because that's what she was wearing previous. And it's like, oh, we got something to do. Oh, go to Melodrama. You know, Jackie gonna take care of you. So I always love that when they come in and they share that with me. And I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And just to know that they just only been doing another part of life. They haven't really needed the whole trend of what, you know, fashion on a week to week. But when it's something special or they're going on vacation, it's like, okay, I'm going to Melodrama. She'll get me ready. And they know it's going to be current. And, you know, and I always try to give them ideas of how to wear it and how long you can wear it. And a lot of stuff, if you style it correctly, can stay in your closet and your wardrobe for years, and things like that. So that's my biggest reward sometimes, is just seeing the repeat customers over and over again over the years.
Well, we have someone writing in on Zoom. Diana is sharing that she's been to your store for a happy hour and really enjoyed it. So clearly you are making an impact in many more ways than you may even realize.
Thank you.
So Jackie, let's talk about some trends. Has anything changed now from when the store opened? Like pieces that you probably said, you know what, I wouldn't have that in my boutique, but you've added. Is there anything that just has kind of evolved in fashion that you've kind of added accessories or anything different from when you first started?
One thing that I was always against, and I did for a couple of years, was t-shirts. And t-shirts that said something, but you know, with this whole empowerment movement, Black Lives Matter, all these different things, in the last 2 years, I started doing t-shirts with 2 different companies. Dolls Couture and Noisy Knits were the 2 companies I was selling in my store for a while, and they did well, and customers was like, but I was, for years, I was like, I do fashion, I don't do t-shirts. Oh, I do fashion. And t-shirts can be fashionable. You can wear them with jackets and suits and with a cute skirt, and just looking at it as an incorporation to fashion. And instead of me saying, I didn't want to do that. And I did it for her, and it was great. I mean, it was a great addition into the store, and it made a great gift, a great added item. Like sometimes people come in and they're looking for something, and they need to get something under $30 because they're doing some type of office gift or different things with girlfriends. And the t-shirts was always something to be like, okay, get a t-shirt. And it's, oh yeah, perfect. You know, what size? You know, so it was an easy sale.
Yeah, I can see the messages on the t-shirts are very powerful now. Like everybody just has, you know, it's just a trend that I didn't even think I would. I ended up getting one of my girlfriends a couple years ago, a t-shirt. I was just at an event, and I was like, I don't know if she would like this. It just said like Houston girl or Houston something.
Proud or Houston, yeah.
And I was like, and she loves it. She wears it all the time. So that's something that I wouldn't think as far as like a fashion thing. Yeah. Knowing the styles that you have in your boutique. So when you're unwinding, you know, when you're not studying for real estate or in your boutique or working, how do you unwind to kind of maintain, like, being relaxed? What's your fun things that you like to do?
Well, let's go into my fun, healthy now thing, because that's what we're going to say. I mean, I do a couple of things. I have gotten into a thing now where I'm reading like 3 different books. And that's one thing I do to unwind. I do journal a lot. Of course, that happened with therapy. So I like to write, and sometimes just writing. I even write letters to myself and put it in the mail. I mean, I know somebody.
Oh, I love that.
And that's part of one of those healthy tips that I learned in therapy, but I do it sometime, and it's just to see where I am, and I'm writing to myself, or I write to my mother or somebody in the family, but I don't mail it to anybody because, you know, of course, my mom's deceased. It comes back to me and I read it. I do a lot of things. I still like the movies. I am a foodie restaurateur. I can tell you about some of the great places in Houston to go and eat and kind of hang out. And I love doing small staycations, whether it be to the Woodlands in Galveston. And it's called Margaritaville now, but it used to be La Trattoria out that way in Conroe. So I go to Austin. I go out to Austin and do great little small road trips and just kind of hang out. And I love to vintage shop when I'm in Austin, and then they have some of the best vintage stores to shop in, and antique places on the way and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's the small things now. I think as you get older and wiser in life, to realize that it's not always about just going around a bunch of people to have fun. I've now found a lot of ways to enjoy myself on a more I tell people all the time, I didn't realize how much I like to be alone. So sometimes I'm alone. I can go eat at a restaurant alone and be so okay. And people like feel like you need like, oh, hey, you okay? Like, oh, no. I am fabulous right now.
This is by choice. I like
This is
me.
by choice.
You know, because you're engaged and we work with people and you do things all
Sure.
the time. And so sometimes just that a little alone time, I just realized in finding out those things that are important to me. I think in a way of a journey of, you know, when you want to unwind and relax, I think a lot of times when you go jump into being around a lot of people, sometimes it's an escape versus when you do stuff alone or with one or two people and kind of hone in into what you really need as a person, as a woman, on the journey of as you mature. You know, of course, like I said, that's in my healthy space. I could tell you about what I did before, but now that's kind of what Jackie does to unwind.
What I'm looking at the all the different your Instagram that, you know, if anybody wants to follow Jackie on Instagram, it's Melodrama 18 years. What's been some of the fun things that you have engaged with now that you're doing a lot more social media engagement? What's been fun to you?
What's been fun to me is the opportunity to go live sometime and talk about different things and create the live where I can actually put it on IGTV. I've enjoyed creating some how-to tips on videos of doing things as well when I'm working with styling, and we shoot a model every week. We get new items in every week. So when we get new items in every Thursday, we work with the model and photographer so that we can have professional pictures to put online and on social media. So I always enjoy that because that's my styling time and give me an opportunity to do something I enjoy and love. And sometimes, of course, the shoes don't come from Melodrama. It may come out of my personal shoe stash or the model shoes and stuff like that. But those are the things that, you know, kind of that I guess I look forward to as far as doing at the store as well.
Do you have any upcoming, maybe later in the year, if you guys don't know or haven't been part of, well, I guess you can see it on the live, but it's different in person when it comes to Jackie putting fashion shows together. It's behind the scenes. I was one of her models, so I know how she gets. It's like, oh, you gotta, Jackie tells you to style something, it's gonna be legit. But they're so fun. I think that's one thing that you always, even when you were starting to get your boutique out there and just get that recognition, you would still put on these shows in different locations and different supporting other businesses. So that really became a thing to you. And I think now it's just transitioning into that live fashion show, a virtual fashion show.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and even now I do photography. Sometimes I've picked up a camera now and I've been enjoying being my photographer one day of the week. My social media manager photographer is pregnant and we share the joy of doing it. She shoots one week, I shoot one week. And that's been really fun and interesting and give me a chance to look through the lens and see what it is I'm looking for and what I'm trying to capture. So yeah, I will say, you know, I'll tell a lot of people that's on a journey as far as opening a business. Again, I always just tell them, make sure you're open a business. It's something that you know that you can see yourself grow in and doing different things. And what, I mean, me being a photographer now, will I say I am a photographer? I think you learn how to wear many hats when you work for yourself. You know, I tell people sometimes I'm not a CPA, but I know how to do my QuickBooks. I'm not an attorney, but I will tell somebody definitely get your LLC if you're opening up a business and why to do that. Not because it's something that I'm gonna do for you, but I can tell you the importance. So it's like you pick up all of these different things along the way of being an entrepreneur and what to share and to realize that you have to have some information about so many things. And I'm okay with saying yes and hire somebody, but you still want to have the knowledge as well.
But can I just harken back to the fact that your degree is in science?
Yes, I was waiting.
People to forget that. Like,
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
Wildly creative. Clearly, you have an incredibly creative side, in addition to a mind of a business person. And oh yes, there was a time when, you know, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that was really a fluke. I mean, it helped me pay my way through school. I really wanted to go to school, believe it or not, for fashion, and I just so happened to wanted to go to school at Howard, and my mom wouldn't let me go as far as to DC. And I was trying to get honestly a little bit away from my mom and be so. And I went to a school that was, because she wanted me to stay in Texas, and I went to school in Louisiana and didn't look at the curriculum, and got there and they didn't have my degree plan there, and I was like, and I was doing well in science, and I was encouraged to do it, and it gave me financial aid and helped pay my way through school. So I stuck with being a physics major, but it definitely was not. I was in business and switched to physics, and that's where I graduated in. And it was a challenge. The dean of the department told me less than 1% of women in the world was of color with a degree in physics. And I felt like, wow, so I would be a part of this small, minute, important number.
That is awesome. That is truly awesome. Yes. I'm glad that's in your bio, by the way. I'm glad you include that little nugget in your bio, because that says a lot.
Thank you.
What else do you have coming up for Melodrama in the next, in summertime and spring? And before we finish the live, I want you to talk about trends. What's the trends right now? What are going to be the trends coming into the spring? And I know our trends are here different in Texas.
Okay, well, I'll tell you a couple of things we have coming up. We have Thursday that's coming up. We're doing I Heart Melodrama Black History Month event and Valentine's, which we had to kind of postpone due to the ice storm. So we're still doing this event this week. And I launched the I Heart Melodrama box that you can purchase online and in store. Has some great, amazing things in it. And then we're just kind of working on slowly. That event is an in-store and a live online on Facebook event, but slowly starting to encourage people and do some small events in the store safely, where people can start moving around and doing a shopping thing again. And so that's kind of like what I've been working on, as well as talking about trends. So, I mean, this spring, summer, which I'm excited about because I always love all the variety of color. And I love the variations this color season with the blues. It's been a very, very, I think, green. A lot of people I know you saw green all fall, lots of greens. So just now seeing in blues, the different variety of blues is coming up. And don't get me wrong, green is still a very important color. Your pinks, your orange, your yellows are very vibrant. But I love a lot of the flowiness that you're going to see, a lot of the bohemian chic things that you can do from wearing caftans and overalls, and just kind of getting back to the basic. The loungewear thing was really hot this past season based on everybody working from home, and everybody was doing a whole loungy thing. It's still moving forward through the spring as well. But what I like about it now, it cascades more into these flowy, really fun, different chiffon and different prints with dresses. So it gives you more of a billowy, fun feel, kind of with, sometimes we call it romantic at the same time. So it's a lot of influences in fashion in spring, summer. So I think with everything we've had dealing with the pandemic, and there not being as many fashion things throughout the world, like normally Fashion Week in New York, your London fashion shows, but designers were very innovative with creating and still allowing things to take form online and through social media. So I always tell people impactfully, just kind of look at that. I am the queen of telling my clients all the time, go on Pinterest, type in a look and what you're looking for. And that way, when you go shopping, it kind of helps you on a journey if you need a visual. So that's what a lot of the trends and things that are going. There's a lot of reinventing and recycling, upcycling of things. And that's simply buying vintage clothes and having it tailored to fit you, or taking the sleeves off of something and adding a sleeve. So that's a really popular thing in fashion, and it trends and steady trending and moving forward as far as this spring and summer as well.
So what are some of like the must 5 pieces that every woman should have in their closet, regardless of a trend? Or a pair of shoes, let's say. What are the top 5
staple
things?
items that you should have in your closet? It's really interesting because people ask me this question all the time, and I think I know I have 4 in my head, so I'm definitely going to say a black pencil skirt. Definitely to have a pair of nice, sharp black pumps. I think every woman in the closet should have a nice peak coat. And I mean classic peak coat. It doesn't have to be a cape peak coat. It's not going on. That's going on a different trend, but just a classic double-breasted peak coat. It could be navy blue, black, khaki. I'm not really big on what that color is. And also having a nice, sleek, white button-down blouse that can be worn. And the idea with the look is you could put all of those pieces on right now and it would make sense. And if you separated it and you had just add a great pair of, it fits, they work for me jeans without a rip into that category with all of those pieces, you can mix up and mix match and still each time have an incredible look and go anywhere in the world with a set of pearls. I'm always tell every girl to have pearls. So I think with those 5, I might even say it's 6 things, if you play with in your closet as a woman, the fashion will definitely come through every time with the look.
Yeah, I think that would probably cover it as far as the top 5. I didn't realize the importance when it comes to the black pumps. How important that is just to have your staple, because you can wear it casual, you can dress it up. I think the jeans with no holes, like you said, they're not ripped. I think that's a lot of people go into that trend of you know, kind of ripped jeans, and it's not for everyone. Just have your staple.
It's a trend. It's definitely not a staple. It's really funny. I used to love, and I still love, and I like to see the way she has grown as a model, woman, business owner, all these different things. Cindy Crawford, she's one of my favorites when it comes to this icon staple look in that for her whole career in life, she's always kind of maintained that elegance when it came to fashion for me, and watching her explode into business as she does furniture, skincare, and all these different things. But when you look at what she does and when you see her, she always have that polished look.
I agree with you. I was her and Chrissy Turlington are my favorite that have maintained just their fashion sense, you know, just through from the 80s to the 90s, even now. Just their style is very it's very simple yet fashionable, but they maintain it, and those two are my favorites. I'm glad you mentioned Cindy and because that's
take you back to those cheap jeans back in the day.
No, definitely. Well, I think I'm trying to look at our notes that we had here for questions for you. Let's talk about the website. What's the website where people can find you?
Oh yes, the website is melodramaboutique.com. And like I say, we do offer in-store pickup. When you're checking out, after you pay for everything, you can make an option to do in-store pickup, and we ship anywhere in the US for $10. You can follow us on Instagram, Melodrama, the number 1818 years with an S. On Twitter, we're Melodrama BTQ. And on Facebook, we're Melodrama Boutique. And I'm located. So if you're right here in Houston and you're watching and you want to just put it in your maps, Google, you can find us at 5306 Alameda Road. And that's between Southmore and Benz. And the store phone number is 713-523-1608 if you want to give us a call. And we're open. So we got these condensed hours. We're Wednesday through Saturday, 12 noon to 6 p.m.
Wednesday through Saturday, 12 noon to 6 p.m. Okay. And are you normally there in those hours?
I am pretty much there every day, especially now that I'm just working with an intern and looking for new staff. You know, with retail, it's a high turnover, you know, and that's just part of how it comes. But again, I don't have a problem. I love being at the store anyhow, and my clients do come for that experience, and I'm able to give them, and I do try to train my staff to do that in my absence as well. So when I'm not in the store sometime, then, you know, I have a well-trained person in there that'll be able to take care of you as well.
Well, I am very glad that Shannon got to join
Me too.
in our Tuesday talks.
This was great fun.
Yeah, because I mean, I like I said, I've always supported Jackie. I've always admired everything that you've done throughout the years, not only for your business, but what you represent to the community, to the Black community, but also just to women in general. Your boutique attracts all diversity, all styles. It is just like an endless fashion there. You know, it's just, it's never out of style. You'll walk out of there that boutique, just feeling beautiful and empowered. And I think you've maintained that mission since day one. So
Thank you.
all right, thank you everyone for joining us for our weekly Tuesday talks. We'll be back next Tuesday at 4 p.m. and we'll post everything, Jackie's information on our chat and our comments on Facebook Live, and reach out if you need anything. Thank you, Jackie. Enjoy your
All
Tuesday.
right, thank you. Thank you
Great
for
to meet
having
you,
me.
Jackie. Thank
All right, you
you.
too.
Bye, everybody.